Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fratello Talks, the weekly short-form podcast where we skip the intro and jump right into it. This week, I'm joined by my colleagues,
Lauwert
and
Dan,
and we're going to be discussing some watch accessories we can't live without. I don't think it's actually that bad, but
that was the working title, right?
Yeah, I think it's more our favorite watch accessories. I think we could easily live without any of these things. But you know, it's things that we find actually genuinely useful in our sort of day-to-day.
Yeah, and the same
lives.
Counts for the watches, right?
Yeah.
We can't really live without our watches either.
Exactly, but you probably could.
Yeah.
Perfect. But before we jump into it, let's do a little bit of a wrist check. Dan, What is on your wrist today?
I'm wearing what is now being sold for double the money that I almost paid for it.
Start with the price. That's
my
always good.
JLC Reverso.
Lovely.
Duo face.
Very nice. And your white side up, silver side up
yes.
this morning.
On a Casa Fagliano strap with leather and
nice.
textile.
I think you should give us a little ASMR reverso flip into the microphone. And
Here it comes.
Oh, that's lovely.
If that isn't
So
worth
nice.
double the money, I don't know what is.
Yeah, exactly. You got it half the price. That's the way you should look at it. Perfect. So, Lars, what's on your...
I am wearing something in a fairly different price bracket today. A Swatch Snoopy.
That's
in
not
blue.
your usual speed.
No, it's not my usual speed. It's not my usual size as well, but it's super fun. My wife gave me this, so it has a special meaning to me as well.
Was it for a special occasion or...
I think she saw it, she liked it, and she bought it.
Okay.
Yeah. I just think it's fun. I wear it from time to time. It's actually on a more sort of professional note. They're super comfortable to wear. They're really, really light.
Right.
The straps are very comfortable. The case curves really nicely towards.
For our listener, I don't think you said what it actually is.
Oh yeah, but I actually don't know.
Okay,
I don't know the exact name.
It's a Swatch.
Swatch. Your standard
Snoopy.
Swatch.
It's a
case.
gent size.
Yeah.
41.
Exactly. Yeah, the 41.
For the audio listeners, tune into the website or the video, and you'll be able to have a look at it.
Very blue.
It's very blue.
Very blue.
It says peanuts
and
on it.
yellow.
It's a big Snoopy on the dial, and there are two
cool.
Snoopy figures on the hand as well. So also
Very
beat
nice.
up.
Very nice. Perfect. And I'm wearing my Cardia Tank Solo. It's also not my... I haven't been wearing it that much, but I was triple sleeving it this morning, and I thought, well, the watch is going to have to fit under all these sleeves, and no. And I've also been after trying on your Santos last week, I was sort of craving Cartier a little bit. So yeah, back to the square.
And it's super slim.
It's very slim, and
portioned.
this is the sort of the older one. So as you can see, it has the flatter lugs or the flatter sides. But I still really like it. It's quartz. I haven't set it probably in over a year. And oh no, that's a lie. I set it when the daylight savings time changed. But that's the only time of the year you have to set it. Set it twice a year. Runs extremely well. It's just a classic. So yeah, I love it. I love getting some wrist time with it. Perfect. So let's move on to our topic this week. We're going to be talking about some accessories that we like. I think the way we'll do it, we'll go around the three of us, and each of us will sort of pick one and then move on to the next, and so on and so forth. We have some here on the table. We'll include a little bit of B-roll of each one just to show our viewers. But yeah, if you're a listener, we'll do our best to sort of describe what we're talking about. And hey, you probably get the idea, and if not, highly encourage that you watch the video for this one so you can take a look at what we're talking about. Perfect. So let's start with you, Lars. Why not? And let's get your first sort of essential watch accessory that you can't live without.
Well, I think if we're going down the can't live without route,
No
I would say
pressure,
that probably the one that I use the most, at least, is probably a good spring bar tool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay.
I change straps fairly often, especially for the shop, because we get a lot of samples in. I have to try them on, test them out, run them for a few weeks, and so for me, a good strap changing tool is really where it's all about. There are different types. I prefer no surprise, I prefer the Bergeron because it's also sort of in many ways the upper echelons of.
It's the standard, right?
It's like the gold standard, pretty much. Like that's the benchmark. They make a few different ones. The one we have here on the table is a composite one, so a plastic one, a very good quality plastic one, but with still some heft to it. And we also carry two in the shop that are one is aluminum and one is steel.
Okay.
And both are fairly similar. The only thing there's difference between them is the size of the sort of the prongs, the little fork.
Right.
And that really depends on what kind of strap you're digging into.
Yeah.
Overall, for me personally, I prefer the smaller prongs because I feel like you can grab spring bars a little bit better with them.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then I really like to have a sort of little pointy tool in the other end, which this one also has, so you can push out spring bars, or if you have drilled locks, it also makes everything a lot easier.
Yeah, that's a really nice configuration. I find that the flatter, some of them have this flatter sort of prong, and I never use that.
No.
I never find myself using that. It's always too small for when you're dealing with a bracelet.
Exactly.
When you have the
very
little
pointy.
notch.
Yeah.
And I prefer always the small one is the way to go.
Exactly,
and the thing is with Bergeron, it really is just, the standard. And there's nothing worse than using a cheap one that doesn't work. It's so frustrating. It doesn't grip the spring bar properly, and you end up potentially scratching your watch or poking your finger pretty bad. I mean, I've done that with a cheap tool before, where it just slipped and put it right through my finger. Not a pleasant experience when you're just trying to change a strap. But yeah, that's a good. That's
and
a good
also another point to that is I would probably make the argument that you can end up spending more money on spring bar tools that break all the time than if you just get one really good one.
For sure.
And they're not like you don't have to get another mortgage to buy one, but they're just maybe 100% more expensive than they're maybe twice the price of a very cheap.
Instead of 5, it's 15, or instead of 10, it's 20. But at the same time, what you get
that lasts.
And with these Bergeron tools, you can also replace the tips, right?
You can replace the tips.
Yeah, that's nice.
And they have them in stock continuously. But I think I should also speak to the point, like the Bergeron tools that my mom bought when she trained to be a watchmaker.
Right.
She bought in the 80s, and she bought them secondhand.
Wow.
And she still has them.
Okay.
So
crazy.
And they could probably still be used.
Oh yeah.
So
absolutely.
That's really a testament to, I think, to the quality of what they do.
We're wearing Swiss watches. You might as well use Swiss tools, right?
Exactly.
Do you know if there are any Bergeron tools with a thicker midsection?
Spring bar tools?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the one I have here has probably the thickest midsection, so it's a bit easier. Or some people find it a little bit easier to grip.
Yeah, right. I like that.
But it's really about preference.
Take a look.
Very cool. Okay, Dan, let's move on to your first pick for a key accessory.
Actually, I agree with Laurits. The thing you use the most is the spring bar tool. But mine, my favorite was actually this one from Oris. Mm-hmm. It came with the first Fratello watch.
Oh yeah.
And it has it's all stainless steel, I think.
Yeah.
But the midsection is quite thick, and it has some grip on it, and it's really nice to hold.
Some knurling. It's really nice.
The only problem is that I dropped it, and the fork side of it broke off. It's missing, and I don't think it's one that you can actually replace. Oh, right. So there might be some in the office somewhere. So I'll take a look. Maybe I can find one. Yeah, for sure. But that's why I was asking for one from Bergeron. Maybe that's a good replacement for it.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that's definitely the thing I use regularly. And then I think the watch box that's also on the table here.
Before we move on, because my pick is also going to be spring bar tool. That's the first one. I think it makes sense. We should have maybe talked about this before recording the podcast, but no. But I think it's a no-brainer. I have my choice is this the Hassler Instruments tool, which is quite nice. It's obviously it goes a little bit above and beyond what you might actually need. I mean, Bergeron has you covered for basic use. This is
it's like
handmade,
the fountain pen of
a little bit, yeah. So it has this spring-loaded sort of bayonet style. We can do some ASMR as well. It's quite nice, and it's handmade. So it's a gentleman who is based out of Minnesota, I believe, and he's hand machining the bodies and making the springs and everything. And then inside the cap at the end, you can unscrew it, and you have because here you have a standard Bergeron point. And then on the back, if you unscrew this, you have the pin tool as well. Nice. So you have them both accessible. You can fully disassemble it, put it back together, and they're all numbered. You have your little number here in the clip. And yeah, of course it's expensive. I think it's over 100 euros. But when it's something that you truly use all the time and you travel with, and it's also nice that the tip retracts.
Yeah,
because I have had some experiences at airports where
I was going to say,
where in your bag, if you have a standard one, like my standard Bergeron one, it's just pointy. It's a bit like this, and they might see that and go, "Well, what is that?" Every time I've said it's for watches for changing straps, they go, "Oh, okay, you're fine." But this one is nice because it sort of looks like one of these tactile pens that you can just put away. So yeah, that's one. And then so we can move on to your second pick, which is probably one that we're also all aligned with, I think.
Yeah, I think a proper watch box or something you can store your watches in is very nice. I started out with, I think, what everybody first buys when they buy a watch box, like the wooden watch box. I think it had 8 or 9 holes for watches. And it was nice, but the inside was getting a bit dirty, and I was looking for a different solution. So I bought this leather one. It's actually, the inside is wood, and then it's upholstered with leather.
Nice.
This one comes from Boulogne & Sons.
Okay.
But I think they're made by Jean-Paul Menicucci in Italy.
Okay.
I think he's the producer, and then they resell them.
Very nice. It's cool with the zipper and it feels like the watches are really properly protected in there.
Exactly, yeah. I use it at home to store my watches, and also I use it when I go to a get-together, for example, and I want to bring a bunch of watches, then I put it in a bag, and I feel like my watches are really well protected.
Yeah, and you see it here folded open, but it actually lays flat, which is nice because it means that the top part you can use as a sort of tray. So if you are in that sort of get-together red bar sort of scenario, it's nice. You can put the watches down on a nice leather surface and not a sticky bar table.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which is really nice. Oh, perfect. So, Laurits, for you, what is your second?
And one more thing. The nice thing about the box is as well that it has 8 holes or 8 places.
Okay.
And it sort of keeps you in a state of, I don't need any more watches because there's
one in, one out.
I see. Yeah, exactly.
So, way to limit yourself.
It's also, it helps with collecting. Yeah,
that's cool.
That's very nice.
Helps curating your collection.
Exactly.
Yeah. Perfect.
So what would be your second pick then, Laurits?
I would add on to that. I would also probably pick a storage solution, but maybe go down a little bit of a different route. If you want to travel with watches, you most likely also need a storage solution. We have a few here on the table as well. 2 made by Atelier Roman that we'll be collaborating with for the shop fairly soon. A French-based leather manufacturer who makes everything. It's handmade. Really, really top quality calf leather and Baronil leather. The 2 we have here are a sort of mini roll for 2 watches and a tool, which I think is quite unique.
I love that one. I think that green one is fantastic. It's so good.
Exactly.
We put 2 big watches in there. We put my Panerai and something else in there and a spring bar tool, and it still stays flat.
Exactly.
Which I think that's the real key. Is like sometimes you get a watch roll and it fits 4 watches, but then it becomes this bulky, obtuse kind of thing, which is you prevent it with a box as well. But that one I was really impressed with how well designed it is.
Yeah,
it just sits really flat.
As soon as we got it in, we were sure that we would like to work with them because it's really something that we like to offer to our audience. And I think that the 2-watch store is sort of an interesting one for traveling, right? Because you wear 1 watch most likely, and you can bring 2.
Exactly.
So that's why you rarely need to have a case for 3.
For sure.
Only if you're traveling with
or
a lot
4
of
or
exactly.
for sure.
But for your sort of short travel needs, I think this is perfect.
It's absolutely perfect. Yeah. So I would then add my take on the sort of travel pouch, which is one that you're seeing it on the screen now. It's a little blue cloth pouch. I think Dan, you have it as well, which is super handy for just 1 watch. And I love that it's extremely flat. It's very slim. It fits in a pocket of a bag, or it could even fit in a jacket pocket, which is super practical. It's got a nice zipper, a little cushion inside.
Yeah, it's slightly padded. That's nice.
It's slightly padded as well. This one is a Rolex branded one, but I'm sure that there's others out there with other branding. But it is really useful because often now I will only travel with 1 other watch. Yeah. So I'll have the watch on my wrist plus 1 more. And so then I found myself either carrying watches in a half-empty watch roll, or taking watches,
which
to
is
just
nice
fill the
because
watch
you
roll.
can fill it up with straps.
Yeah, that kind of that's also super nice. But I have to say, just having the one, especially for short travel, is fantastic. So this is the one that I've been using. It lives in my daily carry basically. Yeah. So it's a little well-deserved shout out for that one for sure.
Nice.
Perfect. So moving on to the third one, we'll skip back to you, Lauritz, and see what you have for us.
Let's see. If we go in terms of what I probably, let's say, interact with the most on a daily basis, it's probably the valet tray you see on the table actually.
Oh, okay.
By the way, all the products that I mentioned you can find in the shop. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. The shop manager. Come on.
People complaining, you
shop the podcast.
We're not having him on again.
Exactly,
Don't worry,
exactly.
It's fine.
And I didn't really think that I would ever, I wouldn't say need it, but actually use it. But then as soon as I started working here, I kind of noticed that everyone nearly has one on their table.
Yeah.
And I think for good reason, because if you interact with watches on a daily basis and you want to change straps, you want to put your watch down on something that's relatively plush and clean, I think they're a great way to organize your desk. Also, just for like non-watch people, if you have nice fountain pens, it could be if you have something that you're gonna put on your desk that you care about.
If you're sizing a bracelet and you don't want stuff flying everywhere, rolling off your desk. I mean, you have the little edges. It's really really useful. I have it more as a desk storage kind of thing, but I have to say it's also nice for. I have a little one that I use like a single. Like it's really quite small. I think like 10 or 15 centimeters by 10. And that's really nice. I have it on my shelf at home. It's every time I take my watch off, that's where it lands.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think better than any other solution.
And what's good about a lot of them as well is that they have buttons that hold them together, hold the sides together, so they can actually fold completely flat.
Yeah.
And so if you want to travel with one, it's super easy. It fits almost like a thick piece of paper. So,
nice. Awesome. So Dan, what is your third and final pick?
Yeah, I think it's close to the tray that Lauritz described, but I prefer to use a watch stand.
Okay. Right.
So I have it on my nightstand, and whenever I go to bed and I want to put my watch away, I put my watch on there.
Yeah.
And then in the morning, I'll put it in the box or I'll put it in the safe or somewhere else. Yeah. So during the day it's empty, but whenever I need to store my watch quickly or put it away when I go to the gym, for example, I put it on the watch stand and it's nice.
Especially useful for watches on bracelets, I think.
Yeah, but even straps, most of them, stay quite firmly on there. So
That's very nice, very nice. I think it's one of those things that sooner or later every collector ends up having, or every watch enthusiast ends up having in their life. And,
I thought it was a bit like posh or a bit like showy,
right?
But
it depends where you put it.
Yeah, exactly, and you don't really have to to use it as a show prop or as a shopping window or something.
You don't put them in front of your living room window.
No, exactly.
So no. Passers-by can admire your collection. And definitely,
but it's actually really practical. Yeah, it's really because sometimes when you lay down your watch, you might put it on a table next to a mobile phone or something else that has a magnetic field or anything.
Yeah, true.
And this is a way to keep it away from anything. And that's a safe way to store your watch.
Very nice. Very nice. Perfect. And so my third and final pick, as you can see on Dan's watch stand, there is a clutch.
It's a NATO stand now.
A clutch of NATO straps. And for me, it's also one that I don't use it every single day, but I wear most of my watches most of the time on NATO straps. When it's not on the bracelet or when it's not a dressier piece like this, which sort of makes more sense on leather. I'm not going to put the tank on a NATO, not just yet. Maybe someday.
Leather NATO, maybe.
It could work. Could work.
Shop.
But I really like. Stop it. But I really I always have a couple in my bag, and that comes along with something else that you'll be seeing in the B-roll, which is a little. I have this little jar of spring bars with me, just 20 millimeter spring bars, and I don't remember where I got this little plastic sort of screw top container, but it's always in. I have a little kit in my bag that has those. In case one breaks, one snaps off, you want to change the strap, whatever it is, then you always have one, and it's a handy thing to have.
Have you ever needed it?
Not personally, but I actually saved on a press trip. I don't remember exactly when, but somebody needed a 20 millimeter spring bar.
Cool.
I think somebody was changing a strap, and the classic spring bar just pinged off, but it was in the middle of, I don't know, somewhere, and it just was completely lost. And it's like, oh, does anybody have a 20 millimeter spring bar? And I was like, actually, yes, I do. No, I it's a bit overkill, but it is definitely
really
nice to have them. Yeah. Exactly. And same as the I'll put in a little extra one with this caliper that people are probably used to seeing in a lot of our pictures, but it's just I think a brass or bronze, I think probably brass, caliper that it's great. And in my job as you know, sometimes like sort of writing about watches, it means that you have to take measurements, right? I mean, the lug to lug, the thickness.
I really have to get my own because I can highly recommend the whole time.
I can highly recommend it.
Natos all the time as well.
It makes the rounds in the office for sure. So it's a very useful tool, and it's great. Yeah, if you want to measure the specific thickness of a watch, the lug to lug, all the measurements that a brand might not give you. For us, I mean, writing about watches, of course, is very useful. But it's also nice to know when, as a collector and consumer of
where your watch
of watches.
Stands.
Yeah, for sure. Let's include one last thing. I think we can maybe think about just a very spontaneous, if you had to put one watch accessory on your wish list, maybe something you feel that you're missing, what would it be?
Wow.
Or maybe something you think should exist that doesn't exist yet. Something that feels like low-hanging fruit for some accessory manufacturer out there. I can start because I have something in mind. So maybe give you guys some ideas. But I feel that it would be nice to have a roll that is a little bit more versatile. Yeah. So a lot of them have room for several watches and maybe a strap. The one that I have here, which you can't see now, but it also has a little bit of a zippered pouch in it, which is quite good. But I think that it would be cool to be able to have one that has a little bit more versatility to it. You can have more accessories in there, and it has different sized maybe pouches for different sized watches. Because sometimes when you're trying to put in a 44 millimeter Panerai into a watch pouch, some pouches just it doesn't work. And I would also say this, I would like to see this single watch travel solution, something like as flat and easy to carry as this developed a little further. I think that would be really nice.
I think perhaps, well, now that you got the ball rolling, we have on the table here like a normal Swiss Army knife in our own configuration with a case back opener. Yeah, I think it's a fantastic one, but Victorinox, this with Bergeron, did used to make an even more watchmaker and it's gone out of production now.
I've seen this.
An even more watchmaker focused pocket knife. So it's fairly thick. Yeah. But you had spring bar tools. You had different attachments with the spring bar tools. You had I think you had a caliber or something to measure with as well in the pocket knife, and you had knife and scissor and so on as well. Yeah. So that was
a magnifier, I think. Yeah, exactly. It was really an interesting one. I've seen this. I've seen it branded with. I've seen it with different brands who put their branding on it. It's a rare one. You can find those pre-owned on eBay and stuff like that. You can find them
pre-owned, because they stopped making them, which I thought was a shame. But I guess it was a very niche market, probably. Sure. But I remember when we started making Swiss Army knives ourselves, I looked at that one particularly. Yeah. Because I thought that was awesome. Yeah. So bring that back, please.
Yeah.
That would
be we should talk to Bergeron.
Definitely.
That's cool. And Dan, any ideas pop to mind?
Yeah, I don't really have anything to wish for, but I think what I always have in my watch box, also when I go somewhere and even at home, is a nice cloth. Because after wearing a watch or when you pick a watch to wear, it's nice to clean it for the day and then be ready for the day. And this is one from Oris, actually, again. Came with the same watch, and it's a very nice one. It's a little bit thicker, and it doesn't fold, so you don't see. It's really nice.
Very plush as well. Yeah.
Probably also nice in the context of a red bar or a meetup or something like that when people are handling each other's watches. It's a bit of a faux pas to just like kind of wipe it with your t-shirt. You know, it's
nice to have a.
It's fine to do, but it's better
around,
to. It makes you look like you're well prepared and like you mean business. Perfect. Well, I think that just about covers all of our favorite accessories that we may or may not be able to live without. We shall see. But yeah, perfect. So thank you for tuning in, and thanks, guys. And of course, make sure to like, subscribe, and follow along, tag in, and tune in next week for another episode of Fratello Talks. See you then.